Candace.
And I'm Ripley.
And I'm John.
And this is Comicsplaining.
The show where this is our very seasonal Turkey Day special. Come on.
Uh-huh. That's what this is. This is a Turkey Day episode.
Well, this is our last episode before Thanksgiving because we are taking that week off.
Yeah, our schedule's going to be a little interesting.
So there's going to be no episode on the 25th because that is the day after Thanksgiving. And we have family obligations.
So we're also not going to be here the first week of December.
Holidays? Well, we did this last year, so, you know.
Yeah, we're in for another chaotic one.
Yeah, well, we just figure, like, if we get time off in our day jobs, then we should get time off from this.
What? You mean you can actually live a life of media making and not make media every minute of every day?
False.
And also, you don't have to start stacking up media early, so when you're taking time off, you still have release?
I mean, we would be doing that if this was our only job.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yep.
In light of that, now that we've got that out of the way, will you guys tell me what happened last time with Thor?
Sure couldn't.
Things happened in Thor?
Yeah.
Nothing consequential at any place in time.
Since you guys are stumped, I would like to note that I also didn't remember, so I had to put it in my notes.
Give me
And when I put it in my notes, I at first put it a certain way, and then had to look it up and realized I had remembered the wrong
Don
thing.
went to the Circus of Crime because
that
he
was
thought
the second
they were.
issue
I know there was another one, but I don't remember what it was. So you're gonna have to give me a hint.
Okay,
Crypto Man.
No, that was the third issue. What was the first
Damn it.
one? The first
how
one.
did I forget the Crypto Man?
The first one, there was a billionaire.
Oh, Fat Bastard.
Yeah.
Get
the
in
one.
my
All
belly.
right, I remember. Okay, so Fat Bastard kidnapped Jane to try and get Jane's new doctor boyfriend to make
Doctor boyfriend boss.
Doctor boyfriend boss.
No issues of ethics here.
No, trying to make him
HR's fine with it.
perform a body swap thing.
Well, because he is HR.
Yeah.
And so that guy, Jim North or Jim Jones.
You nailed it. Jim North, that's his name.
Right.
Oh my god, you remembered his name.
Yeah, I'm good at this. I remember Pedro Luis Lopez
You
too.
did. You still remember it.
Does he ever come back up ever
No,
again?
of course not.
What? He's an important Marvel civil rights activist. He could have been, like, in 40 years, they could talk about
Well,
him.
anyway.
In like, they could talk about him
Nah,
in
the
high school
FBI
for
capped
years.
him.
I mean, they would.
I mean, he did. We never found out who shot him in
You
the
know,
Thor
that's
issues.
true.
That
So.
is true. We never actually found out who shot Pedro Luis Lopez.
Okay, so
It's a cover-up, I tell you.
Jim-
The FBI shot him.
Jim came to Don because word on the street is Don's got the hookup with Thor. So Don's like, yeah, I do. I'll see what I can do. How about you run back into that situation?
Yeah,
And
'cause
then
that makes sense.
I'll see if Thor can show up.
And Thor showed up.
And Thor showed up, and then
Got
got
captured.
hit with a giant stinky Febreze can.
Okay, so they
And he
did gas him. I was
passed
like,
out.
did they gas him?
Yeah,
they
did.
did.
And then they plugged him into the machine that was gonna transfer Fat Bastard's mind into Thor's hunky body.
But what it actually did was kill Fat Bastard.
Right, because he couldn't win the Battle of the Minds, and then that was the end of the fucking issue.
Yes, there was never any danger. Thor just let it happen for the lulz.
And then Don went to the Circus of Crime because he thought they were up to some shenanigans.
Yep, and that was the second issue.
Were they?
Yep.
Yeah, they were.
What were they up to? I can't
They
yes.
robbed a Radio Shack.
Yeah.
And they stole a big ball computers.
Yeah, that's used for national defense.
Yeah.
And then they put them inside a
A barbell.
a giant barbell.
So, Thor knocked out the Thor impersonator that was their muscle man.
And then impersonated
and
Thor.
then became Thor. And then did a rousing circus show.
Who else was there?
Ulik was there.
There you go.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember why. He just showed up.
Loki sent him there to kill Thor.
Right. Loki sent him there to kill Thor, just like I was saying. So he got his ass kicked, and then the Circus of Crime got rounded up by the cops with zany pipe hijinks.
Yep.
And then the third issue, we fought Elon Musk.
The
Crypto
Man!
Don't remember really anything of the plot, just a series of
He had
Elon
a robot.
Musk jokes.
He had a robot. The robot turned evil.
I mean, if you recall correctly, the robot was actually the Crypto Man, not the man.
No, but the important thing is, the man forgot about his mother.
He did.
And when he was reminded of his mother, he destroyed the robot and died.
Yeah, there were some Boulevard Trask vibes.
Yeah, he was like, a third-rate Boulevard Trask.
Yeah.
Which is impressive, because Boulevard Trask is a
second-rate. At least Boulevard Trask believed in something, shitty as it may have
But,
been.
I mean, let's be real, his son is a second-rate Boulevard Trask.
Elon was like a very generic kind of mad scientist guy.
It's like...
I didn't go into his motivations when I covered that issue, but it was literally just like his peers didn't think that his ideas were good, so he was like, I'll show them all.
I'll buy Twitter.
Yeah.
And then I will lose other companies billions of dollars.
I will run it into the ground within 2 weeks.
I won't just run Twitter to the ground. I will do other parts of the economy real significant damage and piss off billionaires who have government connections.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Crypto Man just gets funnier and funnier.
And that happened between the last time we did an episode about the Crypto Man. That should tell you how quickly the Crypto Man is having problems.
So yeah, that's basically what happened.
Yes, he bought Twitter and destroyed Twitter.
No, in Thor.
Yes.
That's what happened to Thor.
As I said, that's what happened. He bought, the Crypto Man bought Twitter. Twitter, the Twitter that really exists on the internet.
So on to the issues today, because none of that has any bearing on anything ever.
That's true. That has been true. Nothing happens that matters.
So today we're going to read Thor number 175 from February of 1970, written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Bill Everett, and lettered by Artie Simek. There's also a note here that the cover art is by Marie Severin. So,
hey, yeah, you can see some real care taken on those muscles again.
Oh, yeah.
The sad thing is, now that we're in 1970, I miss the nice.
I know.
Like, I was kind of getting tired of it, but now I miss it.
Right, it got ruined.
It was getting a little stale, but without it, this is the Thor.
Well, we'll never hear from it again. It's gone now.
Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a warning before I turn the page. This page is going to be confusing and jarring.
Okay. Am I still allowed to react?
Yes.
We can react however we see fit.
A trio of mobsters crouch on a darkened country road.
What year is it?
Waiting to ambush a passing cargo truck.
Okay, 1940s.
They are blissfully unaware that someone else is preparing to ambush them in turn, as Thor himself crouches atop an embankment just above them. I'm having a hard time figuring out the layout of this space on these first couple pages. At first it looks like Thor is right next to the guys, but then on the next page, he's way above them. I'm also not sure where this is supposed to be geographically, as it seems to be a road in some kind of canyon with sheer rock on either side.
Obviously, this is New York City.
Yeah, it's like right in the middle of New York,
yes,
obviously.
In the middle of the canyons of New York City.
I guess it doesn't really matter. As the gunmen...
No, that's stupid!
As the gunmen move to run out into the street, and Thor in turn moves to stop them. He decides against the direct approach, instead striking the ground, which causes a shockwave that somehow lifts the weapons straight out of the men's hands without hurting them.
That's such bullshit.
Okay, is this a new power, or...
No, he's been able to do the shockwave thing for a long time.
But, why did they all just let go of their guns?
Right.
And they flew off into the air?
They have very bad trigger discipline, and it also means they're not holding their weapons
When
properly.
I first read this, I thought maybe he was, magnetizing them somehow, but no.
That actually tracks, considering in one panel, the hammer's doing anything, and the one immediately below it, the guns appear to be headed towards the hammer.
Right.
So, yeah, hey, wait, is Jack still on this one?
Yeah.
Jack, this is your responsibility. You've screwed this up.
I disagree. I think it's a bad idea no matter what way you draw it. Anyway.
That's probably true,
Oh,
but Jack
that's too much blue.
Anyway, a whole gaggle of armed cops pile out of the stopped truck like a clown car.
Oh, dang.
I love this panel of Thor just hugging all these guns.
The clown car of cops and the Thor holding the guns.
Merca.
Declaring that they had some prior knowledge of this attack. Yet the bad guys are confused by this localized earthquake that seemingly only affected their ability to hold onto their guns.
Precious children of the Second Amendment.
It's
Thor, very important.
At that moment, Thor emerges from the brush with all three of the rifles cradled in his arms.
He's a very
So
big
tenderly.
fan of the Second Amendment. He's just so fond of the right to bear arms.
The cops
I mean,
thank
I feel
him.
like Vikings would be pretty down, right?
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. The cops thank him before booking the bozos. And we cut away to Asgard.
So that happened.
That happened. It's not going to come up ever again.
I was about to ask, did it matter? The
No.
answer, no! Well, now we have some minor subplots within comics. Thor comics that don't matter. Oh no!
So we're cutting away to Asgard, where Balder and the Warriors 3 answer to a summons.
Guess Baldur's done getting
In the realm,
delicately tended to.
in the realm of
Tenderly.
the Norn Queen. They don't know why the Norn Queen called for them, but Balder declares that they will not be held captive any longer. So I guess they really have just been there all this time and no one has noticed or done anything about it.
Thor's off stealing guns and helping
He
the
didn't
cops
bother
do a
to
sting.
come back? Oh.
Thor, your friends are captive.
Ooh, that's a
Why?
That's a look.
It is a look.
Balder steps up like, "This is it, Carnella. Our wounds are healed, so we're leaving, and there's nothing you can do to stop us. We will fight to the death to escape if we have to." And Carnella's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever."
then get thee gone. What use have I for such as thee? Wow, yeah. She really just said, go away.
That's pretty much the long and short of this whole page, though Balder does ask why the Norn Queen must stand opposed to Asgard when she could easily choose to not do that. However, she says it simply has to be this way, and so the four warriors take their leave.
Ordained.
Tis ordained by fucking who?
Fate?
It seems there might be a little more to it, though, as once they're gone, Carnilla laments that they know not the danger awaiting them. Hag taunts Carnilla, for her love shall soon fall at the hands of devious Loki.
Of course, of course.
Now mounted, the Asgardians make their way home with Balder in the lead. Fandral asks why he's in such a hurry, and Balder responds that they have to hurry back to protect the city because Thor isn't there and it's time for the Odin sleep.
Oh God! It's always time for the. Is that
Oh,
why we had to do
the Odin nap.
Galactus so we could make sure he didn't have a fucking nightmare?
Odin, did you check on Galactus just to make sure that when you went to sleep, Gal wasn't doing anything too suspicious? Is that what that was all about?
Valid points. I also wasn't aware that it was scheduled in advance. It kind of seemed like it just happened whenever.
No,
That
no.
also seemed like a bad idea, right? Like
Right.
announcing when the Odin sleep's gonna be.
What? So, well,
I will be sleeping on the 8th of November.
don't attack. Please don't attack Asgard on the 8th of November. It's bad for everyone in Asgard. Thank you very much. And thank you for your time.
So on that note, the four intrepid heroes pause as suddenly they feel the earth quaking, just before they spy a whole pack of giants marching to war.
Oh, fun! I guess they know the Odin sleep is coming too.
Oh yeah, they may already be too late, as marching along after the giants is a whole army of trolls, gnomes, demons, and among them Loki himself, riding on a makeshift palanquin.
Wait.
I was gonna ask how they knew that Loki was leading them, but then Loki's literally there.
Okay, but Thor doesn't know it's Odin sleep time.
Well, he's about to find out, because...
Loki's posse is interesting.
It is.
Yeah. Back on Earth, we find an unsuspecting Thunder God returning to his office and to the responsibilities of Dr. Donald Blake. Before he can make the transformation, though, his attention is called by a figure above. His heart soars as he realizes it's Sif and climbs up to meet her.
Why is he doing this again? He's doing it again!
I don't know.
Stop climbing!
I don't know.
Stop using the hammer on the buildings. You're damaging them.
Far from a happy reunion, though, as Sif is here with a mission most grave and dire. They embrace once, before Sif tells him that his father has entered the Odin Sleep, leaving the realm defenseless apart from the other couple thousand people who live there.
Well, yeah,
It's defenseless. You guys had time to prepare.
you didn't have to tell everyone.
Thor apparently knows that his friends aren't there, which begs the question of why he didn't try to figure out what happened to them when they randomly disappeared several issues ago.
It'll be fine. I don't know where they are, but they're fine.
Because they disappeared back when he was fighting the Thermal Man.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But
It's been a
apparently, it's okay that they disappeared. You know, they have fun.
I mean, I guess he trusts them to take care of themselves.
Or not. And if they don't take care of themselves, well, they died well, I'm sure.
Sure. Yet without them, he realizes that the realm eternal is now left with only Loki to lead it, and that just won't do. So with a whirl of his hammer, he transports the both of them back across the Rainbow Bridge. The Rainbow Bridge, which is looking pretty not rainbowy today,
Ooh.
No.
but we don't have time to dwell on that, as an army marches past to the defense of the Golden City. One warrior stops to give Thor a quick update. Apparently, no sooner had Odin closed his eyes than Loki laid siege to the walls.
I'm shocked.
It's almost as if it was a plan.
Right? It's almost as if they knew that this was going to happen and had time to plan for it.
Which is a bad thing, Odin.
Usually Loki is a little more subtle than that, but I guess they're tired of it and decided to go direct.
I mean, to be fair, wouldn't you, after Odin's done all this bullshit?
Right.
If all the sneaky times didn't work, maybe it's time to be bold.
Yeah.
It's not like there's anyone to stop him.
Thor and Sif then hop onto a horse that came out of nowhere.
Oh, that's really weirdly laid out.
Yeah. And charge into the city. The Thunder God deposits his lady at the palace, ordering her to Odin's side as he proceeds to the battlefront, because we always have to sideline the women.
Oh, and she's probably going to get kidnapped.
Oh boy.
Riding further, Thor comes upon a couple storm giants making their way into the city. He takes one down with a toss of his hammer, then simply rides past the second one.
It says mountain giants.
Whatever.
It probably doesn't matter because it's already down.
He wants to find Loki, and he won't be stopped by lesser foes. However, as he's galloping away, a dragon with a troll on its back swoops down and grabs him with its scaly talon.
Good job.
Loki, meanwhile, stands in the thick of battle, reveling in their apparent success. Silently, they steal away from the melee, entering a secret passageway into the palace. According to the narration, Loki had a secret entrance built into the Odin Sleep Chamber and then killed the contractor so no one would know about it.
Okay, so I can actually believe this because there's no way Odin actually checks any of the security in his own city.
I don't know, I feel like someone would have noticed the sounds of construction.
Nah, they would have noticed, but Balder and the gang went missing for several issues,
That's true.
and Thor didn't go to check.
That's true.
No one sent Thor to check. The Odin Sleep was coming, and the Warriors 3 plus Balder were able to just go missing, and no one cared.
And we all know how attentive Heimdall is.
Oh, yeah.
Who can see everything, but
Sees
it's
nothing.
fine. It's fine. So yes,
Well-
I think Loki could have personally been the lead on building a secret quote-unquote passage into the Odin Sleep Chamber.
Okay, well, you've sold me, but it did happen regardless. As Loki goes full stealth mode, sneaking through the tunnels and knocking out guards like they're in a video game, until they finally arrive at the chamber of the sleeping Allfather. Sif and several other
He's
guards.
tucked into his trans
I-
blanket.
Yes.
I literally wrote that into my script.
You beat me to it. Damn.
Sif and several other guards are standing watch over Odin and his trans flag blankie. They're all taken aback as Loki just kind of walks into the room
Why are you surprised?
and starts talking to them until they remember what's up and move to attack. Loki is like, wait, you can't kill me? My daddy would be mad.
I am Odin's flesh.
My
Which
daddy,
works
who I
somehow.
was gonna kill,
Uh,
would be
am
so
I-
I would like to
mad.
point out that he specifically states that he is Odin's flesh and blood, which is not true. He is adopted.
I'm curious. They know he's adopted, right?
Yes.
We
So,
know he's adopted.
We do, but them. It's
Yes,
important.
they
They
do.
know he's adopted.
But-
Everyone knows Loki is adopted in this universe.
And Loki is claiming to not be adopted.
I mean, it's the god of lies, right?
And more importantly, people are supporting this statement that Loki is not adopted.
Well, Loki, has a charisma build.
Oh my
Wow,
god.
you got a nat 20 on this line.
This is
Damn.
so stupid. You guys are so stupid.
Well-
Not you guys. These guys.
Yes, am I
Anyway.
not the blood of Odin's blood? Am I not the flesh of Odin's flesh?
Anyway.
The words he speaks are true.
No,
Though
they're
he's
not.
Evil
I
incarnate.
guess that means he's in charge, guys.
Anyway, the guards all stop in their tracks like, oh yeah, Loki is literally a prince. Sif is like, what the fuck? They want to kill Odin.
Recalculating.
They want to kill Odin and take over the realm. You can't just let them do that.
Make a
Well, yes,
U-turn.
you can. You
But-
absolutely can, because this is Odin's flesh and blood. Odin's flesh and blood is allowed to kill Odin, obviously.
But the guards dismiss her concerns, and then Loki orders them to capture her, which they do without question. These guys are really bad at their jobs.
Actually,
And I think Odin's gonna fire them when he wakes up.
Actually, I suspect the
Intelligence
Hey.
1.
Hey, Odin hired them. These are Odin's guys. These guys.
This is like Odin's honor guard, because
Yes.
they're in his room.
That's how bad Odin is at his job.
No, that's how bad he is at hiring.
He puts people around him to make him look better.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he
Puts incompetent
hires
people around
he
him.
hires yes men. But the problem is they'll say yes to anyone who seems like they're authoritative enough.
Well, that sounds right to me. That checks out.
Yeah, Loki's definitely of Odin's
Loki's in
flesh
charge
and blood,
now.
right?
Loki's in charge now. Loki says we gotta.
Loki's not adopted. Loki is a blood child of Odin. Yes, that sounds right.
That checks.
So with that done, Loki leers creepily at the sleeping Odin, and here we learn about a new MacGuffin that Loki seems to think will make them king. This time it's Odin's ring, so keep that in mind.
you could just kill Odin now, or
I can't wait for 2 issues from now when we learn that the power comes from Odin and he got the ring out of a cereal box or something. Because that's what happened last time. But enough of that, because the boys are back in town, just in time, as Hogun hurls his mace skyward to free Thor from the dragon's clutches. The Warriors 3 are here, and Volstagg is actually fighting for once, instead of being
Yay!
portrayed as a coward, which is very exciting.
Nice.
character development.
Thor inquires about the whereabouts of Balder, and is informed that he fights alone outside the gates.
He'll be fine.
Then he jumps down. Well, he's invulnerable, so
Yes,
he will be fine.
He will actually be fine.
Then he jumps down into the mosh pit to enthusiastically crush some scrolls.
I mean, to be fair, Balder might get his shit kicked in, but he won't actually be hurt.
he won't
by
die.
I was
However,
looking a little wall-eyed here.
they are all stunned when the sound of trumpets rings out from the palace. The triumphant fanfare, I'm not turning this page for a reason. The triumphant fanfare comes to an even more sudden end as Loki steps out onto the runway to show everyone their new fit.
Oh, it's bad. It's really bad.
Okay,
Oh,
you
the fur.
The fur, the cape, the hat.
I mean, the fur kind of makes some sense. I can
Okay.
go with the fur, but
This pink thing is
everything.
part of his hat.
Yeah, I know. It's not good. There's nothing good. Also, he's got a cape while he's walking above all these flames, and it's
Yeah.
like hanging over, and
Yeah.
No capes.
actually not draping correctly at all.
Oh, don't worry. If Loki catches on fire, it'll be funny.
I guess this is just how you dress when you're king. It's a requirement of the office.
Obviously.
And don't worry. This outfit will change in like 15 minutes.
I think we should do this. I'm sick of boring men in suits.
Thor and his buds issue a challenge to the mischief god, but it's too late.
Oh no!
They've already seized the throne and
And-
all the power that comes with it.
And more importantly, it is Loki in the garb of a sovereign of the realm. Oh no!
I said.
I know, but you didn't.
Apparently, having the ring means that Loki is king now.
You can't tell me not to spend for.
Okay.
Not your ring finger, fuckwit.
I mean, Odin wasn't wearing it on his ring finger.
It doesn't fit.
That's true. It doesn't.
Apparently, having the ring means that Loki is king now, regardless of Odin still being alive. That's not how it worked ever before, and not how it will work going forward.
But Odin's
But for
wearing.
the sake of this story, let's just temporarily absorb that information.
Odin is
All
wearing.
right,
Thor's
no
wearing
problem.
king clothes, so it's cool.
Loki. Thor accuses Loki of stealing the ring from Odin while he slept, which did in fact happen. However, though the rest of the Asgardians know this, I guess they're just willing to accept it. They have a ring-based system of government wherein you can just take over everything by waiting until Dad takes a nap.
Suddenly,
if you say you're the king, well, he said it, so,
Right.
like, we can't do anything.
Wow, Loki, you are rolling nat 20s on this campaign.
With no one on his side, Thor doesn't really know what to do. Loki orders him to kneel before them, and when he hesitates, they give some additional incentive in the form of holding Sif hostage, because we have to sideline the women.
Oh,
God, his posse's not
called
even
it.
gonna stand with him?
Nope.
Wow.
So why
The
did-
Thunder God is more angry than anything, but the Warriors 3 body check him before he can pounce and give Loki the wet willy of a lifetime.
Oh my god, we get to finally just finish a fucking story and move on to another issue of continuing it rather than... I was really worried when I saw we were on page 14, but, like, thank God.
You were worried it was going to be solved
By the end of the
Loki
issue,
was somehow going to lose.
It was just gonna end because Odin woke up.
And then, I don't know, bitch slapped Loki.
For now, he just has to do as Loki says and bow. And so begins the dynasty of evil King Loki. Long may they reign, although the next issue is called Inferno, so probably not.
I don't know.
What did you guys think of that issue?
Maybe it's just him, like, fiddling while Asgard burns.
That was something new. I will give it that it is definitely something new.
Marvel suggests us a character close-up on Loki.
It was stupid, is
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
If I were willing to suspend my disbelief about anybody acting like a person in any way, shape, or form, I'd say, yeah, that's an okay comic, but, like, that's kind of a big caveat to
Right.
put on a story.
I mean-
so I'm gonna have to say 2. It could be much worse.
It
I
has
could
been
be
much
generous and rate it higher, but I'm not feeling generous.
It has been worse.
What would you guys guess? We've never done this before, but what would you guys guess that comic is rated on CMRO?
This is probably like a 3 or 4,
3.45.
John, 3 or 4?
3.5.
It is 2.98.
Ooh!
Ow.
We were being generous.
I like this new feature.
I just thought of it just now. Let us move on to Thor number 176 from March of 1970. Written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Vince Colletta again,
Oh.
lettered by Artie Simek.
So we're just living in this reality where Loki wins.
Yep.
That's wild.
Until Dad wakes up.
Yeah, you know.
Don't wake Daddy.
This issue begins with Loki and Thor in the throne room. Loki has a new hat, as is their right.
That's how
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Loki is ruling properly.
Exactly. I think it's important to note for our listeners that Loki is calling Thor a slave for this entire issue, pretty much.
I mean,
Just as a quick warning.
He also calls him stepbrother.
Yeah, well, he's been doing that right along.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
Stan doesn't understand the difference between foster brother and stepbrother.
mind you, this is basically how Odin treated Thor.
It's possible that Stan is just using this as a generic villain gloat, but since these characters are adapted from Norse mythology, I'm choosing to interpret it in the Old Norse context. Vikings did sometimes take slaves, or thralls, from places that they raided, but for the most part, this wasn't slavery in the way you generally think of it. There was no buying and selling involved, and they weren't viewed as property so much as a lower caste. More often than not, in fact, a slave was a member of your own family, who was lower in standing for some reason, in which case they would have to do what you say, but you would also be responsible for taking care of them.
Okay, Loki, you have a responsibility.
Not that I'm saying this isn't bad, because slavery is always inherently bad, duh. But I think it's important to consider the historical context here. Loki is just referring to Thor as a family member of lower standing, is how I'm interpreting this. Which, again, I could be completely wrong about because it was written in the 70s.
I think that's more tasteful.
It's
Yeah, I
more
do too.
tasteful.
I do too. That's why I'm choosing to believe that way.
God only knows what Stan meant.
Right. Anyway, Loki is gloating, and while Thor has already bent the knee, he has one trick left up his sleeve. Like all older siblings, he reminds Loki that they will be in so much trouble when Dad wakes up.
It's true. Unless Dad is very
Too bad
proud.
for him, that ploy has never worked and never will work, as Loki wastes no time hitting him with, but what if Dad never wakes up?
I'll kill Dad while Dad's asleep.
Recalculating.
That sends Thor into a rage, grabbing Mjolnir and surging forward, only to be dogpiled by waiting guards, as Loki goes neener and sends him to the dungeon.
Who knew it was so easy to take over Asgard?
With a heavy heart, Volstagg watches this scene from behind a curtain. He's so wrapped up in the drama that he doesn't notice a guard come up and attack his ass with a mace.
I mean...
Oh, I thought it was Hogan for a second.
No, it's not Hogan.
Volstagg needs to watch his stories.
Luckily, the Lion of Asgard isn't so easy to topple, as the weapon breaks across his rippling body. Volstagg turns to address his assailant as the guard begs for mercy,
It's
yet
all
receives
muscle,
none.
baby. It's all muscle.
I'm not exactly sure what happens next, but it seems like Volstagg knocked down an entire wall.
I think he booty bumped him through the wall.
Yeah, I think...
Possibly.
I don't know, that looks more like his chest, his
belly bump.
belly.
So I'm going to assume this idiot got crushed.
Yeah.
R.I.P. dumbass, gone but not forgotten.
However, Volstagg thought this was a joke or a jest. This was funny.
No, he didn't think it was a joke. However, the forceful blow has inadvertently alerted the rest of the guards to Volstagg's presence, as they all turn to rush him and he yells, "It was just a prank, bro."
That's what I mean. He thought this was funny.
No, I think he's just saying that.
Yeah.
I don't know. He seems like,
No, I think
he knew that he was crushing a man.
I mean, hey, they were willing to work for Loki last issue.
Fandral and Hogan appear from nowhere to back up their bro. You know, as annoying as I find it when Stan makes Volstagg out to be the butt of everybody's joke, I really love the dynamic that the Warriors 3 have, and I think it's perfectly encapsulated here. Fandral and Hogan know that Volstagg is a capable fighter, obviously, but they poke fun at him anyway because he's their friends, and that's what friends do.
Nobody picks on my buddy but
Yet,
me.
at the same time, they show that they're not going to let anyone else push him around. I know they're comic relief and I'm reading too much into it, but I don't care. I love them.
No, there's characterization there.
Anyway, Hogan and Fandral start fighting these guards for the next couple pages.
Oh.
Hogan says that they may have sworn fealty to King Loki, but they made no such promises about these guys, which is not how it works.
No,
I think.
it's not.
No, it's
but
not.
it's a fun line, nonetheless.
Yeah, Loki's rule wasn't going to last long if this is how it's going.
Fandral does some Errol Flynn shit, grabbing a curtain and swinging above the crowd.
The fucking drama.
Then fighting his way up an incline and behind a huge vase,
Yes.
which he then topples and rides like a rolling log before catching himself on a bar hanging from the ceiling. All while waxing poetic about what a bunch of scrubs these dudes are.
Good job.
He's so much.
God, I love him so much.
The
It's a constant fucking battle between whether I love Fandral or Volstagg the most.
The revelry is cut short as Loki appears. They use the ring to knock Fandral out somehow, and then order him down to the dungeon with the rest.
Because the ring clearly has power.
I guess. Hogan, too,
The
has been
vapor.
subdued with something called a vapor helmet that I'm not a fan of.
Well, I guess he's,
He's
I
dead.
don't understand. Why didn't
They
you just
steamed-
zap him with the
They
ring?
steamed his head.
They put a pumpkin on his head and now he's doomed to be a jack-o'-lantern forever.
On the outskirts of the realm eternal, two scouts take a somber ride across the countryside. They ponder the plight of their kingdom. Odin asleep, possibly forever. Thor enthralled. Loki on the throne, poised to do who knows what.
Politics, am I right?
Oh boy, politics. They can't really see a way out of it. That's going to be the least of their worries soon, as an enormous flame bursts from the ground before them.
Maybe they could vote the enormous flame out from Asgard.
It seems that something was sealed here by Odin, but has now been engulfed by fire, which quickly spreads across the area.
Hey,
He
Loki?
didn't bother to check on that one before he took a nap?
Now,
Hey, Loki, you're gonna have to take care of this one.
the two scouts try to urge their mounts back from the blaze, but it suddenly explodes, and we don't know what happens to them after that.
Rip.
The palace guards deposit Fandral and Hogan into the same cell as Thor, which seems like a bad idea, but I don't know, maybe they're doing it on purpose to, subtly incite Loki's downfall.
Yeah, that
Following-
sounds right.
Like following the letter of their commands, but
Right.
not the spirit, because I'm pretty sure Loki didn't want Thor to be with all his buds, where he can plot to overthrow their rule.
Or even just throw a kegger.
Mhm.
Right? Volstagg is pushed in after them, so I guess he got captured off screen. He also says to the guards, "May all your offspring dwell atop trees," which I don't understand, but I
What?
do love.
What?
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know. The two who are awake, which is Thor and Volstagg, begin to discuss their circumstances when a familiar voice answers from nearby. It's Balder, who is, I'm not really sure where he is. It
It's-
looks like outside the cell
Yeah,
or
I think
in another
so.
cell, but it's pretty unclear. Anyway, he apparently hid somewhere that Loki wouldn't find him and has now come to free his comrades. He raises his enchanted blade, using it to break open the door with one heavy blow.
Check out this cool sword my dad made.
And now that we're free, it's time to split up, gang!
Ah.
Thor orders the Warriors 3 off to guard Odin, while he and Balder seek out Sif. Speaking of which, Sif is
Oh my-
currently with Loki, the
Not
latter
this again.
of whom is trying to order her to marry them.
That's-
Again?
Shotgun weddings are never legal.
Sif doesn't seem appreciative of the fact that this situation is the fantasy of dozens or hundreds of lonely middle-aged women who write self-insert fanfiction.
Oh God.
She declines, and Loki says, "Oh, alright, my mistake. At least that's what I like to pretend happened in my dream space, where Loki isn't a generic cartoon bad guy. In reality, they order her to fight a troll. A female troll, specifically, because we can't show her fighting a man on equal footing for a number of reasons."
God.
Well, it'd
Damn
be
it.
fucked up for a guy to beat on a lady.
Yeah, exactly.
But
we also can't show a lady beating a man.
yes,
Because that would imply that women are equal.
yes.
Can't help but notice we're on page 13.
So about that fire we saw earlier.
It's fine.
I guess these guys never saw Smokey the Bear on TV when they were kids, because they have done absolutely nothing to keep it from spreading
Welcome
to
to
the surrounding
Asgard.
area. And now there's a giant red guy named Surtur climbing out of the fire.
I mean, to be fair, you'd need a lot of dirt or a lot of water to do anything
And also,
about that.
you'd need television,
This
regular
is why
television to watch Smokey.
They
the Bear?
have magic TVs.
Yes, magic TVs, not regular Earthican TVs.
Okay, so they have Smokey the Troll.
Smokey the Troll.
This is why you always have to smother your campfire, folks.
Otherwise,
of
you get
you-
Serta.
Most
So-
of you will recognize Surtur from Thor Ragnarok, though he looks a lot less cool here.
He looks less pink than the last time we saw him, which is a welcome
Oh yeah, we
change.
did see him before, didn't we?
Oh
Yep.
no.
I completely forgot. So I guess I don't need to recite these fun facts about him, but I'm going to anyway.
All right.
He's a fire giant.
Wow.
And king of Muspelheim, the realm of fire.
And Moses. Mises.
Mies.
Mies.
He is also supposed to burn all 9 realms and the world tree to ashes when Ragnarok comes. So you can imagine the new king of Asgard won't be particularly happy to see him.
So, welcome to Ragnarok.
Speaking of which, let's see how that cat fight is going. The match is certainly unbalanced, though not in the direction that Loki assumed. More than holding her own, Sif is on the cusp of defeating her opponent, as the troll woman begs to be allowed to stop fighting before she gets killed. Loki is disinclined to allow this, but Thor arrives at that moment and puts an end to it.
Of course.
As Thor and Sif greet each other, Balder steps forth with his sword drawn. Unlike his hapless peers, he has sworn no oath to this king, and feels no obligation to do so. Loki points out that that's all well and good, but they've already conquered the whole kingdom, so there's not much point in opposing them now.
Loki, you're not immortal.
Well, they are. They're literally a god.
Yes, but you're not, okay, you're not indestructible.
There you go. They then call forth a vizier, who wheels out one of the magic TVs for Loki's evil PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, he heard him all the way over there.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't anywhere near the
Whoa.
room. He was halfway across the
Well,
fucking castle.
Look at his ears. Of course he did.
That's a joke.
They activate the screen, revealing where Odin now lies, still locked in slumber, but no longer in the Odin sleep chamber.
He's in a big old pill capsule.
He has been loaded into a capsule and dropped somewhere in the Sea of Eternal Night, which is a place that I guess we're supposed to know about. Evidently, this means he will never wake up, and Loki's rule will thus continue unchallenged.
That's how it usually goes, yeah.
Yeah, Thor is horrified that Loki would... that's the thing we know about Thor comics, is that Loki has been king since the 70s. And nothing ever happened to stop
It's such
that.
a shame that Odin never came back. He was such a good father.
Thor is horrified that Loki would do this to their own father, but the mischief god shows no remorse. They would do this and more if it allowed them to seize the throne. Angered, Thor makes to attack with his lady and bro close behind, but before they can take so much as a step, they are interrupted by a booming voice from above the palace. Surtur has arrived, and he's ready to burn this motherfucker down.
Good. Surtur, when you're done, can we put in some, strip malls or something?
I thought they already have an Asgardian mall.
I don't want an Asgardian mall. I want strip malls with cars. Does Asgard have cars?
They have a walkable neighborhood.
I don't want a walkable neighborhood. I want highways.
Fucking capitalist scum.
Let's make Asgard capitalist.
Flames rain down on the golden spires, engulfing everything they touch. Even the buildings that avoid the blaze don't escape unscathed, as the very air grows so hot that it melts stone and metal.
Okay.
This diffuses the situation in the throne room pretty well.
Yeah, they're all kind of shocked. It's
as
great.
The four gods stop fighting each other, just in time to avoid jets of flame shooting in through the windows.
Well, they weren't all really fighting each other. It's really mostly everybody fighting Loki.
Well, yeah. Instantly, they all realize the gravity of the situation. Only Odin has the power to stop Surtur, and he's not here. Much like the last time Loki was in charge, we begin to see just how unsuited for the throne they are.
Loki, you're not good at this job.
They
Quit.
They talk a big game, but when shit hits the fan and you have to do more than put on hats, they have nothing to offer.
I have a bad feeling about what's gonna happen on the next page.
The four of them run through the crumbling halls and emerge outside,
I got a bad
where Loki
feeling
rages
about
over the
this.
situation, commanding Thor to do something. They realize that since Odin isn't here, and they're king of Asgard now, Surtur will logically want to attack them.
Okay, I can live with that.
They then resolve to get out of Dodge and let the realm be damned.
Oh, cool. Stan has defied my expectations for a second issue in a row.
Maybe.
With that taken care of, Thor announces his intent to lead the battle against Surtur. Sif and Balder both pledge to help, but their prince has other ideas. They have little chance unless Odin is retrieved, and he can think of no one better to trust with this quest. They say their goodbyes for the moment, before Thor goes to rally his people and hold the city, just until help arrives.
Alright.
So what did you guys think of that issue?
3.5.
That's pretty good, yeah. Let's give it something like a 3.5, yeah. I mean, stuff happened, and
Stuff did happen.
Yes, and things that mattered from the last issue mattered here, and they're going to matter in the next one.
I know.
It's amazing.
It's a
It's a
three-parter.
novel concept.
Yes, it's such
So,
So, when was X-Men running originally? When did it start?
1963.
Oof.
okay, what does that have to do with anything?
Right?
Because we went through a bunch of one-shots.
Yeah.
Stan forgot how to write story arcs.
Stan does story arcs sometimes, and then sometimes gets caught on this, oh, I'm just gonna do a million fucking one-shots, only has no sense of timing.
Yeah. So, what would you guys assume this has rated on CMRO?
4.
I wouldn't be surprised if CMRO doesn't like this. 2.
It is at 3.12.
Huh.
I am closer,
You are.
but by
By
Price is
0.12.
Right
This
rules,
one-
I have...
This one has the letters scanned.
Let's see if there's
Ooh.
someone in here who's recognizable. Thor Wodenson,
Marquette University, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Jeff Fruin, not a name I'm familiar with. Oh, we have more letters. Mark DeMatteis.
Ah, is that why they're here?
Every Thor issue has these letters, but they
J.M.
don't always put them in here.
DeMatteis is
There's a
what we've
poem
got.
here. Dear Stan and Jack, I am the god Thor. I am the war god. I am the thunderer. Here in my Northland, my fastness and fortress, reign I forever. Here amid icebergs, rule I the nations. This is my hammer, Mjolnir the mighty. Giants and sorcerers cannot withstand it.
Ah,
I
this
didn't like that poem very
It's
much.
not a very good poem.
Blame Longfellow.
it took me a while to figure out why they sometimes put him in, but it's usually because there's a well-known comic creator, and I think it's J.M. DeMatteis.
Okay. Alright, well, let's go ahead and move on to Thor number 177 from April of 1970. Written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Vince Colletta, and lettered by Artie Simek.
Is he back to stay then?
I don't know.
God versus God in the greatest battle of all time.
Yeah, it needs to be versus God v. God would be a court case.
Loki appears on Earth in a puff of smoke, having successfully escaped Asgard with a lackey in tow.
And a wrestling helmet on his head.
This guy also looks like Togue, the advisor from the last time Loki took over while Odin was asleep.
Is it Togue?
It's hard to say if Stan intended for this to be Togue and just forgot that Togue was not on Loki's side originally, or if Jack just really liked the design and kept using it. If it's the latter, I'm going to have to ask Mr. Kirby to please reconsider because the pointy hooded robe is not a good look.
No, it's not actually. It's a terrible look.
Though they are no longer in the literal fire, the lackey points out that they've arrived in the proverbial frying pan. Or possibly that one is literal too, as it's currently the middle of winter where they are, but it's hot as the middle of summer.
Welcome to global warming.
Indeed, it seems that Asgard and Earth may be more directly linked than we first assumed. If that's the case, then Loki will simply go to another world.
Why does Loki not know this? Everyone knows this.
Before he does so, however, they are approached by a police officer who thinks their funny clothes means they're friends of Thor. The god of evil is annoyed by this suggestion, and that's about it for Loki, so let's see how things are going across the Bifrost. Not well.
Oh no.
The entire realm is ablaze. The citizens are in a panic, and the warriors are seemingly without leadership of any kind.
The city of Asgard is under attack!
It's being...
The city. That's a Powerpuff Girls reference.
Yes.
Thor stands fast among them, delivering a rousing speech like a true warrior prince. He climbs onto a horse, which will surely help the situation more than just flying.
Yes, they're really good at stopping fire.
Yeah, so you might remember that Thor sent the Warriors 3 to guard Odin.
Yep.
Well, they're
Wait.
back now. They didn't find him. I guess I'll give Stan points for remembering that's where they were.
Did they bother to check the Sea of Eternal Night?
Did they actually go there, or did they just say, we don't see him here?
We looked on Google Maps and we didn't see him anywhere.
Yeah, because you can find people on Google Maps, right?
Anyway, they
just street viewed around the place.
They join the rest of the army and all ride out to fight Surtur. First, they have to escape the fire. Thor uses his hammer to create a vacuum, parting the flames like a hot knife through butter.
Fucking sure.
Sure, why not?
They all ride through the tunnel until they arrive outside the city and see Surtur looming over the mountains in the distance. Balder and Sif run through the palace in search of a wizard named Igron. This guy is an ally of Loki, and they need to ask him what happened to Odin, even though Loki literally told us last issue. Igron recaps that, with a sword poking him in the back, and Balder demands to be delivered to Odin's side immediately. Igron responds with incredulity, because the Sea of Eternal Night is, according to him, inside the Dimension of Death.
Oh, that sounds fun.
He doesn't go into detail about that, but I think we can all draw some conclusions.
Alright.
Balder brushes this off, insisting that he has to go to Odin. Sif says she will stay here until he gets back.
Why?
I don't know. More mythology fun facts. The reason why Odin and Frigga, who is who is not in this comic, but is Odin's wife in the mythology.
False single dad.
Single dad Odin canon.
Well, the reason they went through all the trouble of making Balder invulnerable is because his death was foretold by a seer as one of the inciting events of Ragnarok. So between this and Surtur, we can kind of see that Stan is playing with the broad concepts of Ragnarok.
So he probably has an encyclopedia.
Though, I think it's missing a lot of the flavor that would make it more interesting.
As I said, encyclopedia.
I didn't mention it, but it's worth noting that Loki leading an army of Asgard's enemies is also part of the Ragnarok myth.
Yeah, probably out of an encyclopedia. This feels like Stan is reading an encyclopedia entry on all this and doing his... Well, I'm not sure his best, but he's doing something.
The Asgardian horde, led by Thor, charges on toward the giant on the horizon. They're still a ways off, judging by their perspective, but I guess it's kind of hard to portray the scale here, so I'll cut Jack some slack. As they get closer, Surtur throws jets of flame to scatter them. And that's when Thor's hammer overrides his brain, as he declares that he's going to leave the army behind and fight by himself.
Of course.
Standing in his saddle, he spins Mjolnir to create a whirlwind, which shoots straight toward the giant. Surtur is staggered, though he recovers quickly and throws out more fire, melting a nearby mountainside into flowing magma.
Vincent, I have some questions about what fire does when you put it all around to the lighting. Might you enlighten me as to how that would operate?
It clearly darkens a character it's near, obviously.
Yeah.
Can't you tell? Fire makes things dark.
This only cuts Thor off from the rest of the Asgardians, which is literally what he just said he wanted, so good going, I guess. Before he gets into it, though, the Thunder God has the presence of mind to spare his steed. He dismounts and begins to climb...
Throw the horse? No.
No, he smacked its butt.
That's, Well, he could have thrown the horse. That would have been funny.
He begins to climb the cliff face as lava flows up toward his feet until he has nowhere left to climb, and now he remembers that he can fly.
Good job. Good job. You can fly.
It really annoys me when he just chooses not to fly, even though it would be so much easier. There's no point.
Himbo.
He could fly. He could fly the whole time.
He dodges gouts of flame, weaving through the air until he arrives at a dam, which has an ocean on the other side, apparently. I don't understand the geography of Asgard. Sometimes it's just a floating city, but then it also has an expansive countryside and an entire fucking ocean, I guess.
It was a floating city when it was on fire earlier.
Exactly.
It was. So where was this hiding?
Doesn't matter. Thor smashes the wall and a bunch of water comes out and also a sea monster or something.
Which...
Why was that outside?
I don't know.
So where were you keeping this?
I guess...
Baldur...
I'm very confused about the geography of this situation.
Seriously! I don't know.
Yes.
No, I agree. I fully agree. What?
The motion is carried. The Asgard is very confusing.
I tend to think of it as there's some kind of weird mystical dimensional shit going on.
Not to be cringe, but kind of like the Room of Requirement.
Kind of.
Oh god. And I'm cringe for mentioning Homestuck.
Baldur stands in some kind of teleporter, commanding Aegron to send him to Odin's side. Aegron doesn't need to be told twice, and is all too happy to send his assailant to the dimension of death.
Fair.
As the lever is pulled, Baldur is pulled back into a black expanse where he swiftly ages, each moment sapping more strength from him until he is little more than a husk. Still, he arrives at his destination, and with the last bit of his flagging strength, he awakens the Allfather.
Baldur, you're not looking so hot.
Nope. It seems that the rushing water worked for a moment, but now it's just boiling, or bumbling, as Thor says.
Steam and bumble.
Boil.
Bumble, bumble.
Bumble, toil and tumble.
Trumble.
Bumble, toil and rumble.
Surtur rises from the steam, his flames unquenched, and begins to move toward the Odinson. Suddenly, spears fly toward the giant as the army has finally passed the flow of lava and come to aid their prince. Thor appreciates this, but doesn't think they can do much, as he immediately orders them to regroup. Down below, Fandral and Hogun break ranks to follow in their friend's footsteps and launch their own attack.
Good luck, guys.
For some reason, they numbered this page twice.
Oh, that's... What?
Uh-huh.
Guys, now we have to find out what page number the next one is. Oh, no.
I don't know what happened there.
Did they?
There was a problem.
I couldn't even figure it out. Like, I thought maybe it was a splash page and they just laid it out really weirdly, but that doesn't make sense.
This is 2 pages somehow.
Okay, Jack, if you say so.
Jack, are you actually giving this your real and full attention?
Maybe he was just too caught up in drawing that cool rock explosion.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess.
As the two brave boys hold their weapons aloft, Thor imbues them with power. Power that, summons a meteor.
Okay.
Fandral and
Hogan's like, don't worry, I got my pepper spray.
Fandral and Hogan are kind of annoyed by this. They wanted to fight Surtur themselves, but Thor acted only to save them.
Yeah,
as
guys.
they swiftly realized that this might have been a bad idea. They return to the rest of the army, which has finished regrouping, and Thor is on a new horse.
Sure.
The God of Thunder informs everyone of his new plan, which is to Zerg rush the boss until it's down.
That's what you want in Asgard. You want to Zerg rush your enemies.
With his task finished, Baldur accepts his imminent death, even as he and the capsule return to the teleportation circle on Asgard. Sif rushes to his side, taking his withered body in her arms, and offering words of comfort. He gave his life in service to his king, and none could ask for a more honorable end. But this is a Stan comic, so we can't have that.
Oh, no.
And Odin's here.
Odin is back.
Oh, no.
We are on page 16, and it is time to Deus Ex this fucking machina.
Come on.
Even working together, the warriors of Asgard are only being a minor annoyance to the fire giant, who beats them back over and over. Their weapons are useless, and their shields cannot protect them.
And it would be so cool if any of this mattered.
But still they fight to the last man. Thor issues a challenge from atop a ridge, but is quickly blasted back for his trouble. As he lands among his comrades, he commands the deployment of a frost gun, which seems like something we should have been using this whole time.
You're right.
Whatever, because it also doesn't work.
I don't really mind Odin coming back to the rescue because it feels earned over the course of these 3 issues.
Well, even as he lays defeated among his warriors, Thor musters the strength to raise his hammer and challenge once more. But he could do no more, as Surtur prepares to end it, once and for all. Then Odin shows up, and traps Surtur underground again, and solves everything. It's fine, everything is fine, none of this mattered, because Odin is back, and no one died, and nothing really happened.
I changed my mind, fuck you, Odin.
Did you think this story would have a resolution? Well, fuck you, and the horse you rode in on. L plus ratio plus you get no bitches.
I was really, 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 really hoping that Odin would at least do something cool to resolve this.
Look how sad Thor looks in this panel.
Me
Victors!
too, bro.
We won! Look how good we won!
Me too, bro.
Look how much we mattered! I mattered! I was important!
So we're not gonna talk about how fucking Loki is grounded until the end of time?
We don't know where Loki is.
I mean, Loki gets a gold star for actually taking over.
Yeah.
Unlike one sibling we're not going to name.
So what did you guys think of that issue?
3.
2.
No, it wasn't that bad, I don't think.
I hate these Odin saves the day endings.
Right, but at least it was like the whole
There was
goal
some
had been
build-up.
right along. We have to get
Yeah.
Odin. Odin's the one thing that's going to take down Surtur.
Yeah.
And everything else was just kind of holding it at bay until they could manage to do that, because Odin was the goal all along. For once, it feels earned.
That's fair.
Well,
I think that's fair.
the last time we had one of these endings, I gave it a 1, so 2 is an improvement.
I can't say anything more about that. So, last time I said that we had 8 episodes of Stan left, but that was incorrect. I must have gotten my numbers mixed up somehow, because we actually had 6, which means we now have 5.
Okay.
Just 15 more issues until Stan is gone.
What about your rating?
Me?
Yeah, what do you rate these as?
2. They were boring. At this point, I think I've joined you guys squarely in the done with Stan's bullshit camp.
Yeah, I get that earning the happily ever after is great and all, but this is the same happily ever after we've gotten for actual years now. I would like to earn a new one.
You know, it's funny, in all the years that Thor has been running at this point, the only thing that has meaningfully changed is that Jane left and was immediately replaced by Sif, who is functionally exactly the same.
And
Well, I mean, there've been a couple other things. We've gotten, like, this whole thing with Baldur and Carnilla, which seems relevant.
Hold on. The only meaningful thing that's happened in Thor's life is that Jane left.
Well, in the comics that we've read, at least.
Oh, so far in the comics. Okay.
Yes.
I was like, ever.
No, not in Thor's life.
Okay. I was wondering if that was...
In this run of comics.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. That is the only thing
thing that has had a lasting impact on the comics going forward.
That has changed the story beats.
Right.
I still feel like I'm standing by my Balder and Carnilla argument.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's a whole dynamic that I know is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it goes anywhere, but it is new.
No, I know it's a thing. I know it's a whole thing.
It is a whole thing. So, that's our comics for today. We forgot to mention it last week, but Black Panther came out.
Yeah, Black Panther came out.
So we're gonna talk about that a little bit. Spoiler for this next section for Black Panther.
Wakanda Forever.
We all did cry at least once.
I think that heavily on the subject of grief, obviously, given Chadwick Boseman's passing, but I don't think that's the only reason that we're focusing this heavily on grief. Part of me feels like this is also maybe something to do with the pandemic. For the past few years, we've watched people that we love and care for, and we've had to watch this horrible thing happen. And I can't help but feel like maybe this is tapping into some of that sense of unfairness. And in a way that really hits home.
This movie was, I'll say, difficult for me in ways that I did not anticipate.
There! Oh, God, I hadn't even thought of that. Fuck.
Due to personal things that I'm not going to discuss on the podcast right now, but I did cry many times, so...
There's also something else to say apart from where it emotionally hits, both in the fact that we're mourning Chadwick Boseman, because that meant a lot that he was the Black Panther.
Oh my God.
It meant a lot to a lot of people. So we're mourning Chadwick Boseman.
So much.
We're mourning the Black Panther.
Mourning what could have been.
Mourning everything we've lost so very recently. But on top of the emotional hit, I gotta say that these are the best action scenes, one of the best action movies I have seen in a very long time.
Oh my God, they made Namor and the Atlanteans look fucking awesome.
They also made Namor sympathetic.
I've never, given a shit about the Atlanteans. Sure, they're super strong, whatever, they're not that cool, but in this movie, they were fucking incredible.
Namor was sympathetic.
Back on the action, what I was saying though, part of why it was really cool, I think, is we got action sequences fought in directions that we usually don't. We have the Dora Milaje walking down the side of the ship as the Jabari hold them up.
We also got Namor flying. We got a guy
Namor's
fucking flying, and he's not flying because he has rockets in his boots.
And they did very well with... There were horror movie vibes at the beginning of this movie. Everything in darkness, and you can't see necessarily what's happening. And then all of a sudden...
singing.
The fucking sirens.
People start throwing themselves off the boat, and you don't know what's happening.
And then all of a sudden, the helicopter's going down.
Because it's going forward, and then it's not, and then it's going backwards. Why? Well, because one very strong asshole has decided to throw it out of the sky.
Obviously, the first Black Panther movie was a very big moment for, the African-American community, and this is something great for us to talk about since we're all white.
Yeah,
but I saw someone say how important it is that Ryan Coogler then turned around and offered a hand up to, the Latin American and Native American communities.
Yeah.
And I really think that making the Atlanteans Mayan was a stroke of genius, because they were so much more than they would have been if you just went for the Atlantis thing.
God, yeah, they didn't touch Atlantis at all, did they?
They didn't even call it Atlantis.
Atlantis might as well not be And that actually makes them more interesting.
Yeah.
Because frankly,
Atlantis is overdone.
it is.
And also has no flavor to it whatsoever.
Whereas...
It really doesn't stand out much against literally every other underwater society.
Exactly.
Everything
Whereas Namor coming back to the surface to bury his mother where his people came from.
Oh, yeah.
To discover what had happened in Central America or Mexico or wherever, and then burning it to the ground.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
It was amazing. The
right.
costuming was incredible. The
As
music was
ever.
incredible. I saw something that some of the songs actually had like an African death whistle in them.
Ooh.
It was really good.
I was not a huge fan of the first Black Panther. Like, it was fine. It wasn't a bad movie. There was a lot I liked about it. But as a story, it didn't super work for me. But this has got to be this might take the top of my favorite MCU movie, frankly.
I very much liked the Black Panther as part, especially if you put it alongside the Winter Soldier, because this is this is one guy's really, really, really bad week. Because that's how it plays. Like, he loses his dad, and then he has to go home and be king. But he has a brother who takes a cousin who takes his throne from him. And that's all in the course of like a week. He has had the shittiest week he could possibly have until the next one, in which he's dead.
Though I gotta say that, like, speaking of Winter Soldier, I love that there were a lot of elements of political thriller going on in this too, and I was really into that.
The
CIA
really wanted to destabilize Wakanda.
Queen Ramonda showing up with the fucking soldiers that tried to break into the Wakandan outreach facility.
Believe were French.
Yep.
If I understand the implication, they were probably
French
French
or
French Foreign Legion. One of the two. Either way, the French were being shamed.
It's got a nice little bit of seasoning shaming the French for bad behavior in Africa.
Yeah. And lest we forget, my baby girl, Riri, was there.
Yep, Riri was there. God, how haven't we touched on Riri?
Because there's so much to talk about.
Riri! I love her so much.
Even if you didn't like her new suit.
I hated the suit. It was terrible, but
she's
gonna get a different one, so it's fine.
They're gonna make the next one worse.
I hope not. She's getting her own show soonish, I think.
That sounds right.
Sounds right. But
I don't know exactly.
Time is an illusion.
Yeah. So she's coming back, and also Shuri and Riri is a thing. It's called Shuriri.
Of course it is.
They call it that in the comics.
Oh God.
So I think it was very fun that Riri got her start in a Black Panther film, especially because her origin in the comics doesn't work out with the MCU in the state that it is.
Yeah.
So they had to find a way, and I think that they found a good compromise.
I like that they've touched on Black people all over. They touched on the people in Haiti. They touched on Wakanda as ever. We've got Riri.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the French being bad in Africa, which is a very African topic. I mean, a history of colonialism is a very bad thing, especially when...
So I think going for like a breadth of experience is something that I really liked seeing.
Things that are affecting both people in Africa, the African diaspora, and the impacts that are still there.
Yep.
There's a lot. There is a lot. And, God, Namor's whole argument was they're going to try to be colonizers. Because that's what they are. That's who we are to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not even that wrong.
And, that is kind of echoing how Namor is in the comics. So it's not even that far off. Although Namor in the movie was way cooler.
He was charismatic.
He was very
and
charismatic.
deep.
I can
And
see I can
scary.
see how Namor would get away with being such a man whore.
That
Dr-
Namor.
Those dreamy eyes.
Oh yeah.
And
That sensitive,
dreamy,
dreamy smile.
sensitive, but also intense. That was an intense
Yes,
man.
it was the intensity and the dreaminess all in one.
He's the full package.
Imperious sex, am I right?
God, no.
He actually said the line too.
You are not right. You are wrong.
And we can't forget the best moment after a movie filled with phones going
Oh
off.
no! Yes, the absolute legend.
Oh my god, so in the theater, the entire fucking movie, people's phones were going off. There must have been like 3 or 4 different people's phones going off. And there was also babies crying.
Mhm.
People who were talking and chattering.
The theater was packed.
It was packed. And then, after all of this, and I'm getting so fucking annoyed, then the scene where the plane explodes and fries up Namor, as soon as that happens, someone yells, "That's how you fry a fish!"
The theater burst out in laughter because it was the best line.
Amazing! Shout out to that guy.
Yeah, it's
You're
gonna
probably-
go down in history with the Himdall lady.
You're
Yeah.
probably never going to hear this, but we appreciate you.
We will remember you forever.
Not by name, obviously.
Well, yeah.
But by line and reputation alone, your words shall survive.
So I don't know why people aren't liking this movie, because I love it.
People are liking this movie. It just
well,
depends
I know,
on where
just
you look.
those ratings you were talking
Yeah,
about. I don't get that.
Well, that's been this phase all along. Every time we come back, we're like, "Oh, it was great, I loved it," and then everyone else is like, "This is the worst thing in the MCU that I've ever seen."
See, I have to wonder, for all the bitching about all the movies being samey, the whole last phase has been very different.
Oh yeah.
So
They've been allowing
As
people
soon
to...
as they break away from that formula, people start getting bitchy about
Oh
it.
God, what they want? They say they want things different. They don't.
Yep.
They're lying. Why
Exactly.
they lying?
Why the fuck you lying?
Oh my god, stop fucking lying!
God, MCU fans want things to be the same. They want Steve Rogers and Tony Stark just to do whatever.
Then Loki can come live in Avengers Tower.
And Clint is in the vents.
He's
Married
sus.
with fucking Coulson or something.
Clint being sus. Is that anything?
No.
Damn.
So, anyway, the movie was good and we liked it.
Yeah, we enjoyed that.
So let's go ahead and wrap up.
Yeah.
Alright, email us your thoughts on Black Panther Wakanda Forever at comicsplaining@gmail.com. You can also find us over on social media. Social media. The best way kind of music that could possibly exist. You can find us over on social media at Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, and Instagram. Maybe we should buy a check mark so...
You could. Hey, I don't.
We can buy 2 on Tumblr.
Yes, and they mean absolutely nothing. It's the best. You can buy up to 28.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
You get them 2 at a time, so you can only get even numbers. It does max out. It does not tell you it maxes out. Tumblr is just so much fun about that.
Anyway, yeah, we're not verified, but we could be.
Not on
If you donate us money.
Yeah, donate us money to get check marks next to our name on Twitter.
No,
Tumblr.
Twitter Blue
Either
is
one.
offline right now because of events that may have lost other companies billions of dollars.
I thought that you could still get the thing that they just put another thing next to it. Or is that just like planned and not implemented
No, I think
yet?
I haven't heard anything about them turning back on Twitter Blue, but the old official check marks are back. It's been a whole thing. It's fun.
If you want to see Baldur after he's given the suck, you can check us out over on YouTube.
He looks like he was put in that machine for Princess Bride.
Nancy Reagan got him.
Oh god.
Oh God.
Nancy Reagan and her hurricane blowjobs got to old
Oh
Baldur.
my God! I didn't know she was that good. I'd heard rumors, but not like that.
up on social media if you've ever gotten the Nancy Reagan. Don't do that.
The Nancy Reagan kills you guys.
Or here's another thought: like, subscribe, and
Ring
comment.
that motherfucking bell.
Comment on YouTube if you've gotten the Nancy Reagan. If you'd like to support the show, like we said, so we can get our fake check marks, like 28 of them, you can hit us up over on Patreon, where every month we put out a comic bonus-ode. For November, we just continued on our musical theme.
Apparently, I was unskilled in the arts of Eminem, and should we leave it at that?
I mean, I don't know what to say other than these
You
weak
got one
orange
shot.
spaghetti.
You got one shot to blow.
This opportunity comes once in a
Lifetime,
lifetime
yo.
to subscribe to our Patreon. No, it doesn't. Subscribe. You can subscribe other times too. But it does come once in a lifetime to throw us $5 on coffee. That's a lie. You can do that any other time too.
And it's true, I could not have made those jokes. They are right. I could not have done this.
This outro is a mess.
Anyway, join us over on Discord, and we'll be back at you next week. No, we won't.
Right.
We'll be back at you when we're back at you. In early December.
When we're back at it again in the Krispy Kreme.
Yep. So we look forward to talking to you then. Bye.
Bye.